How's it going, everyone? Akibana Zero here, and it is a sad day for me. Well, at least it was yesterday. Well, still feeling it right now. We got a development update for Metroid Prime 4, and I was actually quite excited when I first saw this video because I was like, oh my god, finally we get to see what's up with Metroid Prime 4. It's been since E3 2017. We haven't heard anything about Metroid Prime 4 since, and here we are in 2019 with the very first development update, and Shinya Takahashi, responsible for development at Nintendo, dropped the big news. The game is delayed, and that is definitely sad, a huge disappointment. But it's not that it's just a delay. It is they're going from the beginning. They're just not happy with the way the game is going, and they're just scrapping it all and going from the beginning. They're basically going to have Kensuke Tanabe work with Retro Studios, the original developers that were licensed to create the Metroid Prime trilogy, Metroid Prime 2 and 3, and basically going back to the drawing board and making the game the best that it can possibly be. And yes, I am quite disappointed about this. It's actually been a very long time coming. I love Metroid, and I've been waiting for Metroid forever, but unfortunately, it's not going to be for another while, and probably going to take a long time as well, because if they're starting off from the beginning, who knows how long it's going to take. Now, before you all start assuming that I'm just whining over here, I'm not. I'm actually feeling that this is actually really cool to hear. It's really cool to hear when a development studio decides to come clean and say, hey guys, we're not happy with what's going on over here. We feel that the game is not in a state that we like. We don't think that it meets the quality standards that we have, so we're going to have to scrap it or start off fresh or whatever we need to do. And this is something that studios don't do very often. In fact, it's a very rare occurrence for it to happen. I think the last time that I heard something like this was when Blizzard announced that the big project they had in the works, Titan, which was under wraps for who knows how many years. If I remember correctly, it must have been 7 years that they were developing Titan. It was meant to be this massive MMO with superheroes and day jobs and other stuff like that. But they couldn't find the fun. This was their exact words. They couldn't find the fun, and they decided that the game needed to be scrapped. But from the ashes came Overwatch. And now whether or not that's a good thing or not, it depends on your disposition. Overwatch is a fun game. I don't play it that much personally, but I do feel like it was a really nice little resurrection of the project. And it was great for Blizzard to have the stones, so to speak, to basically say, I don't know. I mean, it's been 7 years. We're not going to fall for the sunk cost fallacy over here. We can't do this. We can't release a product like this. And that's what they did. They did not release it. They scrapped it, made Overwatch, and that was that. And here we've got Nintendo coming clean and saying basically that, yes, we're not happy with this, guys, and we know that it's very disappointing, and you're probably all going to throw a fit, and some of you are going to start whining and all of that, but hey, here we are. We can't deliver this to you because you're going to whine even worse if we deliver it in a terrible state. So yeah, we're going to have to start right from the beginning. And that is indeed something that's quite sad, but at the same time, it kind of feels very special and very different when suddenly a big studio or a big company decides to say we don't want to deliver this to our customers. And whether or not that is the baseline intention is not here nor there. At the end of the day, Nintendo only wants to make really good quality games, and if that standard isn't being met with Metroid Prime 4, then that's how it's gonna have to be, right? So what does this mean essentially? This essentially means we're gonna have to wait, and we're probably gonna have to wait a long while. But also that kind of also means that Nintendo still has plenty of big plans for the Nintendo Switch, so we're definitely going to be seeing this on the Switch. I would expect that it's going to take another couple of years until we see it. If they're starting from scratch, as they're saying, I don't know if this means that they're starting from everything from scratch. I'm pretty sure they've got assets that they want to keep for sure, but if the game isn't reaching the point that they want to, then I would assume that yes, the majority of the work needs to start from the beginning. I don't know much about development though, so maybe some of you game developers or programmers out there could shed some light on what we could expect or assume what this possibly might mean. So just a little word on these two entities that Shinya Takahashi spoke of. Let's start with Kensuke Tanabe. Kensuke Tanabe is the producer of Metroid Prime 4, and he's also been the producer on other Metroid games. I have a list over here in front of me. Yeah, he's been co-producer on Metroid Prime 1, he's been the producer on Prime 2, he's also been on Metroid Prime Hunters, the producer there, he's been the producer on Metroid Prime 3 Corruption as well, and now he's the producer on Metroid Prime 4, I assume that was from the get-go, of course, but they're having him work with Retro Studios. Retro Studios is an American video game developer, and they're the ones who are responsible for the original Metroid Prime and Prime 2 and Prime 3. That is quite a pedigree, and actually back when they were originally granted the license to do this, they dropped every other project they had, and they went ahead and they started working on Metroid Prime 1. They even did Metroid Prime Hunters. They were also involved in the Donkey Kong series and Donkey Kong Country Returns. They have quite a bit of a pedigree, so I would say yeah, the development is probably in good hands. So assuming the decision behind picking to speak with Retro Studios and getting Retro Studios' help is because they were the people behind the success of the original Metroid Prime trilogy. So who better than to get the people who were responsible for that success to work on this sinking ship. So anyway, yeah, it is a bit of a disappointment. It is the way it is, but what can we do? I mean, that's something that's to be expected. Games are very tough to develop. They take a long time to make. They go through several processes. There are lots of procedures, lots of moving parts. It's not something that we can say with an exact science will always happen the way it does. And so many studios these days are only trying to meet deadlines because they're worried that this is going to create backlash for them. But you see Nintendo right over here schooling everybody by saying, we're coming clean, guys, and we're saying this isn't going the way we want to. Very nice video, very Japanese. I mean, I do appreciate the Japanese's politeness, and I do appreciate the fact that they are coming up right in front of us with the big honcho himself, the person responsible for development at Nintendo to tell us what is going on. I do like this straightforwardness. I can really appreciate the way that Nintendo has been communicating with us for the past several years, and I hope that they do indeed continue to do so and fix Switch Online. So what do you guys think about Metroid Prime 4 being delayed? What are your thoughts on all of these things that Shinya Takahashi has told us? Sound off in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, please leave it a like and subscribe to my channel by mashing on that subscribe button because it helps a lot. I'd like to thank my patrons as always for supporting me, and you can do the same by hitting up patreon.com/Akibana0. That's gonna do it for this video, guys. I'm gonna catch you next time.